Hey everyone, welcome. Um, and particularly welcome to those of you who are new. Thank you for joining us. Just to say up front, I have no idea what's going to happen in the session, so but you just have to know that. I'm not working with an outline here, right? I have, however, thought about what I wanted to work on tonight for our session. So that's a big point of organization. But sadly, I haven't decided on anything. And welcome to those of you who are coming back as well. It's good to see you again. Um, and again, for those of you who are new, I'm Lama Rod. You may have guessed that from my extensive marketing and social media work that I pay other people to do for me. And I am living and teaching on the ancestral lands of the Muskogee Creek and Cherokee people. Um, and this is also land that my enslaved ancestors lived and worked on. Part of my family actually were kind of rooted really south of Atlanta, south of the city here. Um, so the land is very, this land is really powerful. All land is actually really potent, very powerful. But this land in particular is really powerful for me. But in any case, this is where I am situated, and I spent the weekend having cocktails and shopping for a hat. And I feel very much like a lady who lunches. And that was very restorative for me to shop for a hat. Um, though I don't seem to ever wear hats, I still shop for them and buy them and collect them. Um, so as always, feel free to say hello in the chat box. Please, go ahead and put your prayer requests into our Google Docs, so it's just there when it's time to offer those prayers. And if you're new, our prayer request document is a Google sheet, is a public sheet, so the directions are on the sheet, on the page itself, so you can read that, absolutely. But these are just prayers that we offer in our healing work, right? Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Brother Cornel West is apparently running for president. So so that's that among the many things that are happening in the world. And this space is, just to recap, the practice of medicine Buddha is about healing, but healing is more than just, getting some medicine to feel better. It's more than the healing that we're talking about is more than like a physical, right, or a biological sickness, right? It's more than just practicing to feel better, but the medicine Buddha lineage practice is really about identifying the root of suffering, right, and beginning to disrupt the root of suffering. Of course, what is the root of suffering? You know, um, and I think from the tantra, the root of suffering for many of us is believing or buying into the realness of everything. That kind of suffering where, oh, this is happening, this is real, and to find ourselves very fixated, very attached to the realness of everything. So Buddha talked about, craving, right, being the root of suffering. Craving also as a form of desire, like all of that being like the root of our discomfort, and particularly craving to form and reality, because everything that arises, right, is just an expression of emptiness, right, and space, right? So we suffer essentially because we don't, we haven't really realized the truth of things, right? That this is a dream, this is an illusion. So our practice of medicine Buddha is about getting to really embodying and understanding and knowing the emptiness of all phenomena, right? And nor is, medicine Buddha necessarily about the so we are absolutely praying and practicing for wellness, for healing. Healing meaning wholeness, right? Sometimes the antidote, isn't to, like, if you're actually sick, the antidote isn't necessarily to feel better. Maybe the antidote is actually to hold space for whatever you're experiencing, you know. I think maybe sometimes, we think that, oh, this practice doesn't work because I'm still sick, I'm still feeling bad. But maybe the antidote that we needed was to have the capacity to hold space for experiencing unwellness, experiencing pain, experiencing suffering, right? I think that's incredibly important to think about. Like the thing, at least for me, right? The thing that, or the practice, the capacity that's been really important in cultivating is the capacity to be able to see the world, to experience the world, and to choose how to respond to the world in a way that feels liberatory and spacious and wise, instead of just habitually reacting to everything, which can potentially create more harm and more suffering for ourselves and for others as well. So I'm not saying that we let go of our expectations when we come into our practice of medicine Buddha, but instead, what has been really helpful for me is that I just open to the medicine that I need to get, right? And maybe it's not the medicine that I was looking for, right? That openness, that open-mindedness around when we open to the consciousness of medicine Buddha, right there is medicine, right? That's being offered. Like every time we pray, there is a response, but it's not necessarily the response that we're looking for. So part of this practice is learning to let go of our expectations, right? And to say that when I open to practice, when I do practice, there is something happening. And I may not know what that looks like. I may not know what it is, but to have faith that there is something happening, right? And I guarantee you, I really guarantee you, I promise you, that the benefit or the medicine from your practice will be revealed to you at some point. Every prayer elicits a response. We may not get it, we may not sense it, but there is a response that we're getting, right? And I think things can happen on a really deep level that we're maybe not conscious of as well. And again, that of course, this, I I've talked about my early practice of medicine Buddha, where just at the beginning, it was like, I don't feel anything, I don't sense anything, but I'm going to intentionally practice faith, right? And just hold space for whatever arises, right? This is the trickiest part. This is the hardest part about practice like this. It's the faith piece, right? I know people don't like to talk about faith, and I know faith is weaponized in ways that have been really harmful for some of us. But faith for me isn't just, I'm always, just trying to believe something with no evidence. I have a lot of evidence and data now to suggest that these practices, including medicine Buddha, are quite powerful, right? But it took years, right, of this kind of like faith of just like practicing praying, chanting in the same way that we're doing, right? And just saying, I know something's happening. I don't know what it is, but I will continue doing this regardless. I don't know, any way to make the practice of faith easier besides just saying that there will eventually be some data, some evidence to suggest that there is something happening, right? And to say also that it's not always, I guess it's not a part of a sustainable practice philosophy to always want to have an experience and practice either. Like we get kind of attached to experiences, like, experiences like feeling emptiness or feeling fluidity or feeling energy. Like you have to kind of get rid of that, the expectation that you're going to feel something or have an experience, and just do the practice, just to sit. And over time, there is a really profound attunement to an attunement, a knowingness to, or in relationship to how, let's see, what's the words? Let's see, like over time, I guess, you will develop a sensitivity or an attunement to what it actually feels like to rest within the essence. And the essence itself is the nature of all beings, consciousness, enlightened beings, consciousness, worldly gods, consciousness, our consciousness, to rest with an emptiness space, right? And to feel the expression of this fundamental primordial energy that is that is this fundamental energy, primordial energy is the stuff. All phenomena is composed of. Everything is just energy, right? But learning through practices like this to rest our minds, our awareness within this energy itself, because our minds, our consciousness is, in fact, this energy, but our minds are conscious energy, right? It's energy that knows itself. It's energy that looks back on itself, right? That gazes upon itself. This is the way that I often like to to describe it. To the world of form, the phenomenal world is distracting. It's supposed to be distracting. That's how it was started. It was samsara, or what I call the carceral state. It arose because of distraction, right? And so when we're distracted, it's just serving its fundamental kind of thing. Its fundamental work is to distract us, you know. But if we can hold space for that distraction, so if we can just practice an awareness of everything that arises, and then as we're holding space, so we practice an awareness of everything that arises. So instead of reacting, we're holding space, right? So to not react means that we're holding space, and then holding space, which again is just letting everything arise without reacting to it. Then this fundamental energy, the nature of phenomena, which is again this energy, just begins to awaken for us. We begin to tune into it. It's like looking at a magic eye book, right? You just kind of stare at it, and soon our eyes adjust, and this image emerges, right? But it takes a long time of sitting and opening and attuning for this image to emerge. And this is the same thing with practices like this. And when we're trying to develop an awareness of the nature of reality, it means that we're just spending long periods of time learning to hold space, to expand, right? To decenter the sense of ego or sense of self, right? To allow the sense of self to be there, but to let go of this intense reactivity, this sense of self. To open, to expand, right? And this opening and this expansion isn't blurring anything out. It's not erasing, it's not bypassing, it's just allowing, right? Like this is the root of real change, and it's also the root of legit experiences of liberation. Like you'll never get free reacting, right? Because reactivity just plays into and builds samsara itself for ourselves, right? But to allow, to expand, right? And to feel and experience the energy itself, right? Not just holding space, but experiencing the energy itself, right? Just to feel it, and just to let this energy move like waves in the ocean, right? That's the sweetness of really resting and emptiness itself, right? It's just this expansive, boundless opening, like a blossoming, as we were maybe not doing last week, but the week before, the kind of this kind of gesture, like this is like my hand is like the lotus, how the lotus opens. Like that's how practice can feel. It is this really gentle opening or blossoming. So it's a gentle expansion, not too quickly, right? But just a gentle opening, a gentle expansion, opening. So you're the flower, right? You're the beautiful flower bud opening. And I love this, like imagery, right? I'm a beautiful flower opening into this boundless, spacious experience. I'm already free. I just have to have the courage to expand and open and take up the space. And the space is limitless, it's boundless, right? So why am I so contracted right now? Why am I so closed down and balled up when there's all this space for me to blossom and open up in? right? And this is part of what the healing also should feel like in the practice as well, just an expansion and opening, you know? The medicine will always be about opening and expanding and getting fluid, right? And you can notice, even now, you can notice where the contraction is, where the tension is in our minds and our bodies, right? You can feel the fear of opening, of expanding as well. So just to begin with, just noticing, where you're feeling, the contraction, the balling up, where you're just like closed down and tight, right? Where in your body, where in your mind, or when you think about something, that, triggers, right? That triggers a kind of tightness, shutting down. And in our practice of liberation, of healing, wherever we're tightening and contracting, that's where we're going. Like we're not moving away from it, we're moving towards it, right? So again, just noticing, just like, where am I contracted? Where am I shutting down? Where am I balled up? Fear is a great way to track, right? To where we're shutting down and contracting at. Right? If you're working with the breath, invite the breath into practice. If you have that capacity right now. So you're inhaling, breathing into what feels tight, right? And imagining that the in-breath is expanding the area around that tightness. It is creating the space for some looseness to happen. And as you exhale, you're exhaling some of that tightness, that constriction out of the body. So into the tightness, releasing that breath out. And so as you exhale, so when you're exhaling, you can even like shake or shimmy or do something like that. And that actually helps to release energy, stuck energy. And that helps that energy start moving and getting more fluid, right? So if you've been waiting to do your shimmy for the day, here it is, right? Just shimmy it out, release it, let it go. And of course, you can do this really, you can get up and just really shake and just release. Like it's very quite powerful to do it full on. And of course, the more you do this, maybe perhaps you start feeling a little lightheaded, and that lightheadedness is just the lifting of vibrations, like the vibrational energy. You're just getting higher, like you're beginning to like vibrate on higher levels. And that feels disorienting, right? It feels like maybe a kind of a disassociation, right? And so as you're doing this, like as you're feeling that lightness maybe beginning to emerge, returning some of your attention to the seat, the weight of the body, making contact with the seat, even imagining that the seat is rising to hold you, right? Rising to meet you, your body, feeling that groundedness. And then keeping part of your awareness there and continuing, kind of like releasing energy, moving energy around the breath can create a little bit of stabilizing experiences. And excuse me, my throat is a little dry. Sorry about that. As you're lifting, you may feel your physical body actually lifting too. It may feel like a little bit of straightening in the spine, a little bit of dropping the shoulders, opening the chest, right? So it's not necessarily like lifting the chin, but it's keeping the chin pretty level, but feeling as if the back of the head is just kind of lifting, feeling a little bit of a line beginning to emerge. And you can even add, our mudra here, our, expanding, opening mudra, which I imagine is a flower, a palm is a flower. It's just like, as I am inhaling, and then as I exhale, like that flower opens. So inhaling, exhaling, open, right? Awareness begins to expand. Awareness expands when we're not getting stuck to different kinds of phenomena. Like when we don't get hung up on something, wanting to think about it to create narratives, right? But just to expand. And that expanding begins to hold everything, and you begin to feel more, you begin to experience more in this expanding. And the higher vibrationally that we get, the closer we start getting into the actual experience of pure consciousness, right? And as much experience of pure consciousness as we can have as embodied beings, as beings with physical forms, right? There's only so far you can get being embodied, but you can get pretty far, right? And this is why we say, we say this for many reasons, but we say, one reason we say that, well, that may not make any sense, but let me go at it from a different angle. So the more we expand, the more we open, we begin to understand or experience how all phenomena is an expression of the deity, of Medicine Buddha, or whoever deity you're practicing, but it's the expression of all deities, right? That the world, all phenomena, is just an expression of the deity, right? It's an expression of the deity because the deity is an expression of emptiness and space and energy, as we are as well. So in that line of reasoning, then we're deities as well, but we're also empty as well. So we're everything and nothing at the same time. And this is also the practice as you're moving into this practice with the breath, with the lifting, you're also learning to let go of these intense fixations on so many things. We're worried about a lot of things right now, right? And so as you're moving to this practice, we're letting go of the fixation on these things, the future perhaps, essentially, isn't actually helping. Being anxious and fixated on the future isn't going to create a different future, it's just creating more suffering in the moment. And if there's more suffering in the moment, then there's going to be more suffering in the future, right? To transform a future, right, you have to begin to transform the moment. You have to change the moment. What do I need to do right now to bring about the future that feels less intense? And this is how we begin to figure it out, the spaciousness. And the space offers us this opportunity to respond, not just habitually react, but just to respond in a way that brings in care and clarity, right? And love, and everything, right? That fits into an ethical response. And that our ethical framework is to reduce harm and suffering and to experience liberation for ourselves and to help others do the same. This is where we call in the deity, right, that we're working with. Like this is like, and I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of computer language, but like this is like this is probably going to be wrong language, but like the base program. This is like the base program, right? And this is where we begin to attune, right, to the particular frequencies that we want to work with. So in our case, Medicine Buddha. So you turn your mind to Medicine Buddha. And we're going to actually do that through the opening mantra. And the opening mantra, Om Minla Sangye Hino Soha. There's a mantra sheet there. So our opening mantra, which we don't always do, our opening mantra, Minla Sangye Hino Soha. So, O Medicine Buddha, please think of me. It's the traditional. translation. It's the straightforward translation, rather. But Omen like Kino Soha. Kino means to think of, but we can substitute anything that we need from Medicine Buddha in that spot. So Medicine Buddha, please hear me. Medicine Buddha, please see me. Medicine Buddha, please come by here. Right? Medicine Buddha, please hold me. I want this to be a mantra for you. This is really to begin with, what do I need? Not the world, right? Because whatever I get initially will be offered as medicine to the world anyway, because this is how this is set up. So what I get for myself is what I give to those around me. So first and foremost, what do I need right now? Right, and this is probably going to be something that some of you are going to take a long time to figure out. What do I need right now? And then that's what you're praying for. Medicine Buddha, please give me space. This is what I need. I need space. Right? I can never have enough space. Give me more space. What is okay, but what is it that you need right now? And for those of you who are new, this is what we do, but if we want to talk about healing, if you want to talk about impacting the world in a way that feels liberatory, then at some point you have to figure out what it is that you need. Because you can only get free or help others get free if you're getting what you need to do the work of liberation. You will never free anything, especially yourself, from delusion, from duality, like from the overwhelming belief of realness. You'll never get there from a place of deficit or being under-resourced. And I promise you, this is a promise, that if you figure out, or if you just take a good go at it, take your best guess right now, there will be some experience of restoration beginning to happen. Naming what you need begins the experience of experiencing restoration. So now in the space, as we're expanding, we're opening, we're warming up in a way, I guess. Now it's like, okay, what do I think I need at least? What is it that I think I need? And see what begins to happen before we continue with the mantra. So a few more moments here. So I invite you now to join me in reciting or chanting this opening mantra, Om Minla Kino, Om Minla Sangye Kino. So hard. We're just going to chant it 3 times. And again, just allowing whatever need or allowing whatever need to begin to be addressed, or allowing whatever medicine to emerge to actually fulfill that need, to allow that to happen. Or I invite you just to say, I'm open to whatever medicine I need if I can't figure out what I need, right? So both of those are fine, right? Here's the medicine that I need, or may whatever medicine that I need emerge. So we turn our attention back to the mantra, Om Minla Sangye Hino Soha, right? Begin. Om Minla Sangye Hino Soha. Om Minla Sangye Hino Soham. Om Minla Sangye Hino Soham. And allowing the medicine to emerge, allowing whatever that needs to awaken right now in this space. And just sitting with this for just another minute or so, just really, really, really sitting with this opening. All this is extremely subtle. Even when it feels really intense, it's still very subtle work happening. A couple more seconds. And so when you're ready, I'm going to go a little further. We turn our attention back to the space around us, right? And connecting again to this experience of expanding, of opening. And I invite you to imagine that as you continue to expand and to hold space and to open, all of the phenomenal world, from everything, lights, color, sound, everything. Everything begins to dissolve into white light. So boundless space, wide open boundless space just begins to be filled with light as all phenomena dissolves, returning back to its fundamental nature, which is emptiness and space and this primordial energetic experience. And then the light itself begins to dissolve into a kind of blackness. So it's really dark. And once every kind of speck of light has dissolved, we begin to imagine that this wide, boundless open space begins to be populated with all of our benefactors, all the beings who love us, who want us to be safe and happy and free and resourced. All these beings begin to emerge in the space around us. And they're radiating with this white light, this glow, which is just the expression of their care for us. And because there are these countless beings arising in the space all around us, on top of us, under us, in the space, it just feels like we're being surrounded by stars. We're like in space, and all of these specks of light, some really close and clear, others really far off, that they just seem like stars radiating in the midnight sky, in the galaxy. And they're radiating towards us. So we begin to be encompassed with this soft radiance of light. And so much light is being radiated towards us, and so much light begins to accumulate around us that our bodies become translucent. We become like illusions. That light seemingly begins to shine through us. Because we are rising as these translucent beings, we have this incredible capacity now to really travel, to move through different parts of our experience. There's nothing holding us firmly in this timeline any longer. So as we actually begin to practice our main mantra, we're going to, at the same time, be taking a little bit of a journey as well. And as we're chanting our mantra, I want to invite you to journey back into the past and to go and allow this energy that's being radiated towards us, all this energy of care, which is also the energy of healing, right? I want you to take this energy this torrent, this flood of energy back into a past, you know, your past, personal past, or perhaps the past of your ancestors, to allow this energy to actually be directed back into a past where you or your ancestors could really use this energy of healing. I would say healing care at this point. Just to let it go. The first thing you think about in terms of past healing or ancestral healing, let this energy just go back and flood that experience. Resourcing, restoring, healing, whatever it may be, this past experience. And of course, as we do that, we'll be chanting our first round of mantras as well. But we're going to go back to the past as we chant, then take a break, offer our prayer requests for the present, and then perhaps take some energy into the future. Okay? So again, you'll see our main mantra, Tea Taum, Bekenze, Maha Bekenze, Rasa Sumongate Soha, on our mantra dot. And then we'll begin. O Tea Taum, Bekenze, Ma Bekenze, Rasa Sumongate Soha. 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 Tea Taum, Bekenze, Ma Bekenze, attention to our prayer requests and calling into the space all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Idams, all our protectors, all beings of light, all protectors and guides and elders of our lands that we're practicing on, all angels, all benevolent ancestors, deities, all of our lineages. Um, we offer these prayers to you that you may act on our behalf to bring about the fruition of these prayers. We're offering prayers for my husband. May he know his own beauty. May he see himself clearly with compassion. May he have what he needs. Offering prayers for my brother as he undergoes surgery tomorrow. Offering prayers for my continued understanding and awakening, and that all beings, and that of all beings in all planes. Prayers for understanding of ongoing health issues. Prayers for Chatru as I feel tightness around the conflict and change in relationship with my brother. Prayers that rest into the grief and anger and fear and exhaustion. Prayers for those dealing with racial trauma and those being re-traumatized. Prayers for everyone who has taught me something about what it means to be wise. Offering prayers for protection, care, and freedom for my parents. Prayers for Lama Rod, Karen, and everyone in Bhumi Spasha. Prayers for Bhumi Ma. And prayers of full and complete liberation for all beings in all realms and all timelines, including me, and the faith and resolve to do what or go where the Mother leads me to along the way, and to know what I need to ask for. I pray for support to finish my degree and to be in my body as I do so. I pray for joy as I do so and for strength to see it through. In all I do, may it lead me closer to my own freedom. So, prayers for my family as we endeavor to keep some land in our black family and honor the land and our family legacy. Jennifer, prayers for Jennifer as she supports her aging father. Big prayers for the lifting of fear. Prayers for my friend Liz, who was recently diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. Prayers for my body as I heal from a knee injury and navigate the strange changes of perimenopause. Prayers for my Aunt Miriam as she transitions to the Bardo. Prayers for all people who have been marginalized and subjected by capitalism, patriarchy, and whiteness. Prayers for my sister, may her cancer treatments be easy and successful. Prayers for my friend A, who is struggling with finding stable housing. Prayers for my loved ones who are leaving abusive relationships, their dear children. May they be safe, resourced, and find all they need. Offering prayers to my cis and straight allies. May your perceived distance from queer folk dissipate. May your support of corporations instead support grassroots, queer-driven movements. May your outrage radicalize you. May stop Cop City activists know peace and safety. May those of us in sister cities get activated and demonstrate persistent solidarity. May Carla and Francesca be healthy. May they be brave. May they embody their principles. Prayers for those of us experiencing thoughts of self-harm and suicide. Prayers for myself that the divine love guides me through my relationships. Prayers for clarity and direction in my choices. Prayers for my nervous system. May it learn to relax, and may I develop the capacity to meet my relentless physical symptoms with acceptance. Prayers of gratitude for all and for my friend and his family as he travels to Italy to be with his elder father in the hospital. Prayers for all of us that we may have the capacity to hold our pain. Prayers for my father, may he continue to regain strength after his heart surgery. Prayers of gratitude for all the friends, family, mentors, and guides that have been supportive and loving to me over these last couple of weeks. May I trust that I'm deserving of their love and learn and lean into gratitude and ease. Prayer for Sister Grace Amir, who recently transitioned. Sister Grace dedicated her life to healing of the people of this life. Prayer and guidance for Carla, who is trying to find her path to Barcelona for her master's. Prayers for all those struggling with depression, addiction, and suicidality. May they feel our prayers of love and care. May we all remember we are worthy of freedom. Prayers of gratitude for all my beloveds, my little family, this Sangha, the invisibles that support and care for me, the land and those beings who are caring for the land. Gratitude for Lama Rod. Prayers for relief from daily anxiety and how it affects my body and how I relate to everyone around me. Prayers for everyone facing a life-changing transition. May you have everything you need to get through this difficult time with as little suffering as possible. Prayers for my sister Jay as she gets ready to let her youngest leave the nest as she cares for her estranged husband who is experiencing dementia. Prayers for my estranged parents that they have what they need to be safe, peaceful, healthy, and to live with ease. Prayers for my teen daughter that she have the connections, relationships, and support to become her best self and experience love, joy, and safety. Prayers that my partner and I find our way back to each other intimately, romantically, and physically. Prayers for our collective liberation. Prayers for my best friend Fran who died 2.5 years ago, that she has everything she needs wherever she is. Prayers of deep gratitude to my spirit guide, TM, who is supporting me, and apologies, I have been very grouchy at times. Prayers for my faith to deepen. Prayers for G, may their pain and instability ease, may transitions and new rooting be generative and bring rest. Prayers for my beloved, may they be protected, may they be free. Prayers for the family, for Karen and her family across the street from us, who is healing from one of her daughters choosing to use a gun to resolve an argument against the other. Prayers of safety for all of our brothers and sisters without a stable, secure, and safe home. Prayers for Sophia, who is in the middle of multiple life changes. Prayers for all creatures on the planet, especially elephants and large land mammals. Prayers for my family. We are struggling with the collective trauma of discrimination, racial abuse, material discrimination. I have faith and devotion. I know we are healing together. Pray together for we can taste one Dharma. Thanks, Lama Rod. Prayers for healing from all the internalized hooks of pain that we feel from activations that happen in the form of microaggressions stemming from ignorance. May we find the medicine inherent in the toxicity that pains us. May it serve our liberation and help others be free. Prayers for Kay as he undergoes his 5th surgery in 2 months tomorrow. May he heal and his family have all the resources they need as caregivers. Offering prayers that I may have clarity and resources to support my next steps as a healer. Prayers at the part of myself that wants permission to protect me and grow stronger and stronger. Prayers for my mother who is having recent undiagnosed difficulties with her lungs. May she find the strength and path to heal. Offering prayers for my dear friend Shai Eisenberg, his wife Bahira Sugarman, Hava Bailey, Tom Krana for healing, for Tom P. recovering from open heart surgery, for myself with knee problems, neuropathy, etc., for sleeping deeply and finding rest, less fixation on the current serious problems affecting so many in this country, and to learn self-compassion. Prayers for Brian and his family and his parents. May they be free of the pain they have brought themselves and each other in the past, and choose to offer love and compassion to themselves and each other in the present moment and moving into the future. May they all have clarity, care, and courage to ask with compassion for what they need. Prayers for myself and my ancestors and my family who carried forms of addiction and deep craving. Offering prayers of healing for Ethan, for Reuben, for Marley's, and Carl, prayers of healing for Pete and for Joan C. Prayers for my 2 lost babies. Prayers for my friend Meg. May her cancers not bring too much pain. Offering prayers for my brother and mother, for their delusions and judgments, for all the pain they are holding, and for the lack of the capacity within them and not being able to release the pain. Prayers for me as I navigate the pain activated by those cut off relationships. May all this trauma support our awakening. Prayers for Patrick and for my own healing and restoration. Prayers for my estranged brother, and prayers for my teenage son as I welcome him into my home for a soft landing. Offer prayers for George, who just transitioned into the bardo. May all the ancestors support him and guide him into his next phase of evolution. I offer prayers for Mrs. Talent, who passed away last fall. May she have everything that she needs as she transitions through the bardo spirit world. Offer prayers for Mike and all beings struggling to figure out who they are and to return back to those who love them. We offer prayers for all beings, all of us who struggle, who suffer, who are deeply impacted by systems of violence, systems of hierarchy, systems that lack care to take care of us. We pray for the complete disruption of all systems that continue to create harm, to abolish any institution that does not allow us to be free and happy and safe, and that we all may achieve liberation and ultimately Buddhahood as quickly as possible. We offer these prayers to all of our benefactors to work on our behalf to bring about the fruition of these prayers. And may it be so. And as we return back to our mantra, we're just imagining that we're offering energy into all the prayers that we've offered, and we can also begin to offer energy into the future that we want to see. Just imagine what we want and just opening ourselves and letting this deep energy of healing care flood those dreams of a happier, liberated future for ourselves, for our communities, our families, our beloveds, and for the world, and really for all beings. And we return back to our mantra. No, Deata hum begenze, ma begenze, Lazarus mungate soa. 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 Deata sumugate soa. Deada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasu 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 sumugate soa. Deada begenze, begenze, And just returning now to this timeline, to this moment. Turning your attention out to all the benefactors around you who've been supporting this practice. We thank them for their support, offering gratitude. We imagine that they dissolve into white light, and that white light dissolves into our heart centers. And our bodies, our translucent bodies, begin to radiate and glow from the inside out, being filled with the blessings of all of our benefactors, all of our ancestors, guardian deities, everyone. We begin to radiate so intensely that even our translucent bodies begin to dissolve into this white light, and all these karmic patterns of trauma and hurt and pain begin to be dissolved, released from our ancestral lines, keeping it from being transmitted into our descendants. And we slowly begin to dissolve into this white light. And once dissolved, this white light dissolves into emptiness itself, releasing our awareness as it expands and mingles with emptiness and space itself. And when you're ready, begin to re-arise back in your body, in this timeline, in your space. Beginning to reawaken the body through some simple, slow movements, maybe even taking a few deep cleansing breaths to re-oxygenate the body as well. When you're ready, we turn our attention to our chat box as we offer Shantideva's prayer from the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And we will recite this 3 times together. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed, just like space. In the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach to the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space, and the great elements such as earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the boundless beings. Be source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. Okay, thank you all so much for your practice. Um, and I mean, since we're a little over time anyway, is there a question or two that I can answer for anyone? You can put it into the chat. Just a couple of minutes. I'm not gonna stay too long. Or if you have a burning question, feel free to ask that. Oh, you know what? I forgot to talk about Tina Turner again. Thank you for putting that into the chat. We talked about Tina Turner on Thursday. Um, so I wanted that, I don't know why I keep doing that, but yeah, just to offer and dedicate this practice to Tina Turner, and who, for a lot of Black people here in America, really gave us the inspiration that we could practice Buddhism in some way, you know, and for all beings, really for all beings transitioning, who really were the really inspired many of us to engage in practice. For all beings like this, we offer this practice to them, and for the life and deep impact of Tina Turner for all of us. Um, yeah, and
Lama Rod, Ellison had a question earlier. In our practice of journeying toward emptiness, liberation, what can social justice work, activist work look like as different from social justice, self-incarceration, and reactivity?
well, I think sometimes we create more suffering for ourselves by not approaching the work in a really spacious, open way. I think the constriction, the contraction may intensify certain issues, right? And it really disrupts our capacity to be sustainable. We take on the tension and the anxiety and the immediacy of the work that we're trying to address. And to meet the intensity of the world, we have to meet the intensity of the world with space, openness, fluidity, right? Not to say that like you don't have to act up, because you do. We wouldn't have Pride Month, if those queens didn't act up and start throwing shit. I wouldn't be here, right? But like I don't it's going back, like when we journey towards emptiness, it's offering us the capacity to consume chaos, not to be swallowed by it. And sometimes we think that being swallowed by something, being consumed by suffering somehow makes it seem like we're doing something, we're getting somewhere. And it's not. We're not getting anywhere. We're just, dying. We're killing ourselves, right? Um, so there's openness. The closer we get to emptiness, the more fluid and open we get, and that's always going to also lead to more creativity, more solutions. It's going to always be the place that we can just continue giving care and love, even to those that we believe are creating suffering for us, right? Um, Love from a place of spaciousness and openness and fluidity is the strongest force in the universe, you know? Um, so yeah, so that's what I would say. And it's a question. I know better than to ask outright what makes someone a real Buddhist. I know better than to answer that as well because it's just going to be nothing but a judgment. but I wonder if we were willing to talk, if I were willing to talk a bit about what does it mean to identify as Buddhist. Yeah, I mean, really, traditionally we say, do you really take refuge in the three gems, which is the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, right? Um, do you see the Buddha as the teacher? Do you see Dharma as the source of clarity and wisdom? And do you see the Sangha, the community, as vital to liberation? If you see these three things as being vital, then that really makes you a Buddhist, right? Um, and then, of course, Buddhists, right? It's not just Buddhism, they're Buddhisms. Like, this is a Buddhism, right? Um, Not every Buddhist lineage, tradition, school. So just, I guess just to step back, the Buddha taught a whole bunch, right? No one's able to practice all of that. So all these schools of Buddhism emerged that took a piece of the Buddhist teaching and said, okay, we're going to do this piece. That's what we can do, right? And that developed lineages and schools, right? And of course, a bunch of people and groups took bits and pieces of teachings and developed lineages. That's why Buddhism is all so different and unique, but it all goes back to the Buddhists. So to practice Dharma, all this Dharma has to go back to the teachings of the Buddha. Not so the Buddha wasn't teaching, you know, I don't know, contemporary issues like Beyonce, I mean, like I do. Um, but it's really the nature of Dharma. Like, does this get us clear about what's happening in the world? And the Buddha did teach in his context as well. If there were cell phones and Beyonce during the Buddha's time, he would be teaching about cell phones. And we're at a different time now, so therefore we take the essence of the Dharma and then we apply it to what's happening for us in our lives. And that includes justice and identity and everything like that. Yep. So, and then yeah, and of course you may go for refuge, a formal refuge ceremony as well, which I will probably offer in the future. I know I said I was going to offer the Bodhisattva uh, vow, but all that's coming. Like, it'll come when it needs to come. Okay. And let's see. I was curious if the purpose in this life is to be liberated. Yes. The purpose is always to get free because you don't belong here. This is a dream, right? We're trying to get free here. So why do we get so called to follow those other dreams and feel so guided to them by our benefactors? Feel free. They feel like two different purposes. Okay, let me read it again. Why do we get so called to follow these other dreams and feel so guided to do them by our benefactors? Well, it feels like if I'm interpreting this question right, it's just like sometimes we have to do some unraveling in order to expand into the view of the dream. So it's like we can bypass everything is emptiness, everything is a dream, right? Which a lot of people do, a lot of beings do, right? But there's another path of actually moving through things and developing wisdom and clarity as we help other beings kind of connect to their own, I don't know, potential, resourcefulness, their own dreams. We're helping beings who may not have the same level of realization of this reality um, than we do. If that makes sense. I'm not sure if that's answering the question, um, but um, the purpose is to liberate, but that's not always a straight line. You know, we have to go through the relative, right, to experience liberation, to experience the essence, or something. Um, I noticed during the practice that there are times where I felt like I ran out of gas in my ability to concentrate. Yep, that makes sense. I'm not sure if that's resistance and contraction that I need to dive deeper into, or a sign that I'm pushing too much in the practice and need to instead open more. It just means that you're moving a lot of energy. It's just like it's exhausting. We're moving a lot of energy together, you know? And it's okay just to like rest. You can just stop practicing and just rest. You don't have to do anything. That's always just important to name. Always. Um, this is exhausting work. Liberation work is exhausting, right? This is why we rest and take breaks and so forth. Lots of practice and coming back again and again to the practice. Yes, falling down and getting back up again is what my teacher taught. The practice is just stumbling and getting back up and just letting go of the resistance to getting back up. Just get back up. Just keep going, you know? Yeah. Um, I think of wrestling with angels and gods. Draw straight with crooked lines. That may be a reference to something else. Differences and similarities between aspect stories of the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, Kuan, Yin, and Chenrezig. Often Kuan Yin Avalokiteshvara is really associated with Eastern Buddhist practices, like Japanese, Chinese Buddhism. When these practices were moved Southeast Asia into Tibet, it takes on, right, the character of Chenrezig, but they're essentially the same expression. Chenrezig, Kuan Yin are really the same. Kuan Yin tends to be more femme presenting, but Chenrezig is much more gender fluid in Tibetan representations, right? How do we offer space for thoughts of suicide? Anonymous question, right? It's letting go of the reactivity. It's like, yeah, you see the thought, you feel the thought, you let the thought be there. What's also important too is to connect to your benefactors, right? Connect to this sense of care and support and love from the earth, from your benefactors, and surround yourself with that, right? Because it's the isolation often that draws us into suicidality, right? And so we want to disrupt the sense of isolation by surrounding ourselves, connecting to countless beings around us, right? And the care that they have for us. Um, and you specifically say beings, when you're making that prayer in that moment, specifically say beings of light. And 3 times, say it 3 times. Beings of light. That's like a magic number in these kinds of practices, right? 3 times. You know, um, if there's ever a being, for instance, that comes up, that emerges somewhere in your practice, in your dreams, and you're not sure who they are, ask them 3 times to reveal themselves. and that's kind of like a command, right? And that's hard to resist, right? Just 3 times. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? You know, if you're not sure who they are. Um, Things talking about faith, keeping on going without special experience of the day, without ordinary practice. Yep. Okay. That looks like that's it. If I missed anything, Karen.
No.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. So I will see, hopefully, some of you on Saturday in Toronto as well. So I hope to see some of you there. Um, and yeah, well, you have to, just in case they have to come back. So I wouldn't invite them back if you're not sure who they are. But if they come back, ask them, you know, who are you? Um, can I do a meditation sitting in Texas? If you organize it, I will probably come. So that is usually how that works. So I don't really have any connections in Texas right now. But yeah, if you put something together, reach out to me, to my website. My team will support you in doing that if you want me to come. Um, Texas is not great, but we need guidance here. Well, where is great? I mean, so, I mean, it's some good places, but great, I don't know. I don't know. All right, so yay! Thank you everyone for your practice, and I will see you next Monday. Okay. If I don't see you in person and on Saturday. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Be well. Remember your practice. Remember the videos. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.